Okay, hello everyone. I think we can start. So warm welcome to everyone joining us tonight from actually all over the world for the first workshop of the Blue Factory ECP Start online program in 2022. We are super happy to have you with us today. If you guys could mute yourself, that would be super great. So thank you again for all the applications and all the videos that you've done. We are super happy that we received so many applications for this edition of the program. And as communicated by Manuela via emails, the Start Online program in this semester will last from March until May of this year. So firstly, I would like to introduce our Blue Factory team from both Paris and Berlin campus. So guys, maybe you wanna introduce yourself. So firstly, the head of our Blue Factory, Maeva.
Hi everyone, very nice to have you today. I'm based in Paris and head of Blue Factory since 10 years now. Very nice to welcome you for this program.
Thank you, Maeva. And together with Maeva in Paris, we have Manuela.
Hello everyone, so I'm Manuela and I joined Maeva 1 year ago at the Blue Factory, and I'm really happy to welcome you on this session of the Start Online.
Thank you so much. And together with me in Berlin, we have Chloe.
Hello everyone, I'm Chloe. I'm actually French, but I actually work for the Berlin campus, and this is why my closest colleague is actually Agnieszka. I've been joining ESCP as a worker, so like 3.5 years ago, and I'm taking care of the option E. Some of you might know it's an entrepreneurship specialization for master students. Sorry, I'm smiling because I see that there's actually someone in the group which used to be one of my colleagues when I was at ESCP, Axel, hello. And yeah, I'm also taking care of the Start Online, and besides that, I'm trying at least to get a PhD within the field of entrepreneurship. Yeah, and that's pretty much it about me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Claire. Really cool to see that your former option E colleagues are today with us. And yeah, shortly about myself, my name is Agnieszka. I joined ESCP 3 years ago, and I'm based in Berlin. So thank you for that, for the introduction. And now I will give the floor to Manuela to share with you a bit more about today's workshop.
Yes, I will have a quick word on the Start Online mission that you might have been already be informed either in the emails or in the call that we had together. So basically, the main goal of these workshops is to really get into entrepreneurship with the Blue Factory vision and to demystifying what could be your preconceived idea about it. And through that, we will invite throughout the 4 workshop entrepreneurs who are gonna give you their own entrepreneurial journey. So it will be more inspirational testimonial that can be interesting for you to get to know more about their own experience and to also apply it to your own experience, and then provide you with a lot of resources that we either create or gather and share with you, and we will show you more about that at the end of the session, so you can know more about what resources we have for you.
So I'm very, very happy to be here tonight and to do this first masterclass. This is a masterclass that is a bit particular because we try to share with you insights that are more meta about what it is to create and to build a project. And slowly we will go into more practical detail and resources that you will get, especially at the end of the workshop. So it is really trying to open your minds and your understanding of creation, given that most of you, if not all of you, are kind of at the beginning of the first creation process. So maybe you are not used to this adventure. When I shared it, maybe you already watched what was written in my comments, so I don't know, but for those who didn't read it, could you maybe guess what type of seed it is? In the comments, I'm curious to know if you have any clue. So as you see, it's 1 centimeter seed. Any clue in the chat? I don't see for the moment. I don't know if you have an app. No, it's not a bean. Good guess. Sequoia, could be. Could be. Yes, Sophie, you found it. So it's a baobab seed. And why do I share this this image? Is because, as you can imagine or not, in this 1 centimeter seed, you have everything needed for a tree to grow. And the baobab is a bit special because it's a tree that can last between 1,000 to 2,000 years old. It can be tall up to, I think it's 30 meters, and the diameter can be up to 10 meters. So having in this idea that within this seed, you have all the necessary elements to make this tree possible. And of course, it will need rain and sun and wind and insects and so many things. But the architecture, the DNA, the code is within the seed. So the first thing is really to share with you that this is the same for whatever you are going to create. Usually, we often realize that entrepreneurs at the beginning, they're always like, okay, before I start, I need a co-founder, I need money, I need to know how to code, I need whatever what you need. But the reality is that no, you have everything right now, right here, and it will develop slowly, such like this baobab seed, that from this seed until the old tree, you can imagine that it is being all the time, every day, slowly, and it becomes old and rich and big along the way. And there's also, so first of all, there is this idea of having everything here and now, all the time, being deployed slowly, and this idea of it is organic. It's not about solving an equation. As you see, a plant growing, it's really like a being growing and a being creating. There's something that is very natural and very spontaneous in the act of creation that we are going to try to share with you. Of course, there's still a big difference between a tree than a human being, which is the consciousness. And that's why I won't be able to explain in detail, and I think that we still don't really know how it works, but that's because of this consciousness, this capacity to say I am and to observe life around us, that we're able to create new things. And I would invite you, if you are interested, to really deepen into what science today are discovering and working on about the brain and the consciousness. It is very new that we are starting to realize that consciousness and brain are not equal, like the consciousness is not coming from the brain, but it is separate. And the consciousness allows us to be in touch with informations that are within the reality, which is in the present. And when I say ideas are in the air, it's a bit this element. So first of all, often also entrepreneurs are like, okay, I found the idea that I should really not tell to people. And this is kind of not a good way to think, because the reality is that this idea is not being invented by the person. It is received, like being connected to informations. And this information, you can imagine that whenever you have an idea, let's say, even if it's a very new idea, you have 100 people at least on the earth that receive the same information. And this, we can also testify about that as incubators, because when we meet with peer incubators, we often see the same types of projects being developed at the same moment. There are tendencies. So the challenge is mostly to be connected to these ideas that are in the present moment, and to have your consciousness connected to these ideas coming. And to give you maybe a more scientific approach on it, or artistic, if you think about any like famous scientific people in the world, I don't know, Einstein, that would be the most famous maybe. It is typically a human being that, being in the present, is observing the universe and gets information from it that can help him to explain how it is made. So the entrepreneur has the same action. That's where is the origin of what you are going to build. It's not invented by you, but you receive it. So there is this capacity of being connected and of observing reality that is super strong in creators. To compensate this, and also this one is always a bit tricky to tell. You know, there is also, so if we say that the ideas are in the air and that 100 people have the same ideas at the same moment, sometimes when you build something, you can be, well, so many other people have the same idea, so I will never succeed. You compare yourself and you are into this competition energy. What is super interesting is that the real differentiation is not to do something that will make you different from others, is to do something the way that is so much you that it becomes unique. And the image of that you see here of the snowflake is that, I don't know if you know, but you cannot find any snowflake that is the same in the whole world. So it means that you have uniqueness in every snowflake. So sometimes when you look at a snow mountain, you can imagine how many different snowflakes there must be there. So that's really, whenever you will be building something, of course, it's important, it's super important to see if there is any solution already existing that is relevant, because then, I mean, maybe you can put your energy in something else. But if you are following this path, look around, but still be sure that the most important is that you are connected within to what you are doing and that you go further. So it's all about being and not, you know, comparing or differentiating. It's not exactly the same. It's difficult to explain. About money, you can't eat money. Here, so often, very super often, entrepreneurs that we met tell us, okay, I need first to raise funds, I need to find investments and money. So the first thing that is super important is to realize what is money. Money, it's a mean to get something. So you never need money. When we see also a pitch deck, you know, often at the end, people are like, okay, I need to raise, I don't know, 500K, 1 million, 50K. But sometimes they don't say what for. But the reality is that you need money because with money, you would like to get, I don't know, a place to work, someone that can help you on a certain topic. You want to buy, if you are doing a restaurant, like some food and etc. So it's there is a big challenge in understanding how you can maybe reach the resources that you need through partnership, through bargaining, through doing less with more, rather than having money. So money, it's really a mean. And then it's important to understand also the energy that you need. We were speaking about the seed and the baobab. You can imagine that the super little baobab tree when it is, I don't know, 6 months old, doesn't need the same energy than a very big one. So having too much of blocked money can also be a real problem. So there is really to like kind of relativize, like have a back step on the relationship to money. And of course, if you the motor of your creation is based on gathering money, I can assure you that this is not the right energy to put. There is really in entrepreneurship this idea of value creation that is kind of a value creation for humanity, that makes your project able to grow. Night and day, this is kind of an invitation to go beyond the binary vision of the world in which we are often, because we are kind of, like this. So first of all, we don't always realize that whenever it's a day, it is night somewhere else. So on Earth, in reality, sorry for the sun, I think you can hear me. It's never either day or night. It's always both. And this image, I'm using it more for yourself. Often when you create something, when you work, some also psychological tests, will trap you into the idea of, okay, you are someone that is creative and innovative, but not structured. You are someone that is very structured, but not creative. You are someone that is super social. You are someone that is shy or whatever. And this really is a trap, and it's not true. And it is important to deepen into your shadow, which is kind of a part of yourself that is not yet lit. And this is the same for any person with whom you will be working. And there is a lot in entrepreneurship that is breaking barriers and walls that are mainly psychological, when we think that we are not able to do some stuff, which is not true, because as we have all a human brain, our brain has the capacity to do whatever is needed. Doesn't mean that we will have to do everything, but we have these capacities. So getting out from this binary vision of ourselves, others, and the world really helps when you create something. And the last thing is, again, about this present moments. A lot when we build a project, there is a lot of worries about, okay, what shall I do next? What shall I do in 1 week, in 1 month, in 1 year? Also, many of the institutions, especially the investors, they often ask you for business plan about how are you going to grow in the next 3 years. All this is very not relevant regarding how it is really happening. When you speak with entrepreneurs, they really tell you in reality, they are only able to map what they are doing maybe for 1 week, but in reality in the day, because the steps are built every day. So what we will try to help you with is really to be able to connect back to the present moment, where you have to take care of whatever is happening now. Exactly the same than if you were in a jungle that nobody has walked before, and that your only way to go forward would be to take care of what is around you here. And you have no clue of what river, mountain, treasure, or animal you will meet later on. And it's impossible. So that's really how it works, and how the experience of the creation is. So that's where we want to take you, is really putting your feet on the earth to be able to create step by step. The beginning is you, as a very natural human being to create. And in order to let you meet another time with random other people from the group, it would be nice that you could be split for again with 3 other people for 5 minutes. And my invitation would be more to discuss not about your project, I mean, not about the solution you want to bring, but more either if you already are working on something, about the problem you want to solve, really like try to discuss about that. What is the problem and how deep do you know it? And if you don't work on a project yet, whatever energy puts you towards creation or whatever topic you would like to address. We'll continue now with share with you other insights. So of course, as you may know, you will discover that we will share with you at the end of the workshop a link where you will be able to be in touch with the 70 participants of the program, and you will realize that there is a big difference according to your different level of development. So of course, I'm trying to share with you broad insights that resonates differently according to where you're at. So the first thing is that often the big question is my idea a good idea? And you may all have maybe learned or did, or at least heard about design thinking process, which is pretty famous, and that helps you to deepen an idea and to just put your intuition within reality and try to understand what people really need. And one insight I like to share about design thinking is that it is important to understand that design thinking has been drafted by looking at how people naturally behave when they create. Today, I have the impression that often people are using design thinking as a tool, that is kind of a magic tool where you a bit like a project printer, you are using the process and then you have the right result. What is important to understand is that this is the reverse. It's because you have researchers that have been interviewing many people who have been creating intuitively and spontaneously and naturally, that in the end they were able to try to recap what happens. So for those who have been studying design thinking, I would really recommend you to have this back step in taking, not being too much trapped into the model, but really taking it just as a tool as it is. And for those who don't know it, I would really invite you to watch elements on this, and we will share with you some links, but also not considering it as the magic tool. At least what is super important, and that's connected to the mission we will propose to you at the end of the workshop for the next session, is to go and be able to interview people that you don't know that are supposed to be your direct clients or users, and really to be able to interview and observe them without having a bias of trying to get them to tell you this is the amazing solution and idea that I was waiting for, but really have the anthropological capacity of observing what is happening and how people are in need of something that is important, and letting you be connected with new ideas that are in the air, as I was telling you before. Also about ideas, what we observe, it's often very superficial ideas that, by being a bit in love with the first idea that come to you, then you don't go further. So this illustration of using some glue stick to, repair a wall is just an illustration of this. Really being able to go into the why is there a problem, and to go to the roots of the problem rather than going directly toward the solution that you try and prototype and build and sell. We often really observe that there is a lack of deepening the problems. And especially if you want to innovate, to do something new, you will realize that often the problems that you identify are not the real problem. A bit like when you are with a friend that tells you about their private life and difficulties, and you go beyond and you realize that in reality it was about something else. So really be free to change your perceptions. That's the only way to be able to do something new and relevant. Of course, there is also the fact that, so this is the the COVID, and we were recently really struck at the Blue Factory with, of course, all the current conflict in Ukraine and everything happening in the world. And there is really this question of, is what I am building, would it be relevant regarding the whatever urgency that humanity is facing? And being able to go within the real, what is really needed. Today, there is really too many startups, and we realize in the ecosystem we're a bit shocked by this. It's overwhelming, the number of people willing to create something and doing it too fast without really taking the time to understand, is it needed? Does it really help? Does it worth the energy I'm putting in it and the resource I'm using? Just thinking about this COVID time, when it was sometimes, or for a lot of us, better to stay in our sofa in order to participate to the situation. So there is really this of, maybe some of you know the philosopher Pascal that is speaking about, in French, it's le divertissement pascalien. I think it's the fact of, trying to entertain yourself in order to not be in the reality. So there is this to take into account, not being trapped into this super activity of entrepreneurship. And there is also this philosopher Plato that you may know, speaking about the necessity that is the mother of invention. Again, that's also in the same line. We receive so many applications, we meet so many people who said they want to build something, but we also discover many projects and people willing to build things that doesn't worth it. And it doesn't mean that these persons are not able to create. That's absolutely not what I'm saying, but it's more that they address the situation in too much superficiality. And so there is a need to deepen and take the time. There is no rush. And the same than the baobab seed, it's building every day, slowly. Whenever you've been doing this work correctly, or this adventure, going around this adventure correctly, interviewing, observing, being free of any prejudgments, and so you get to a point where you want to test something, there is this concept of MVP that, again, many of you have maybe already heard about or even learned about. This is really this idea of, how can I test the solution, or how can I try to solve the problem in the easiest way I can? And here, there's never a too easy way to do it. For instance, can I help just one single person for 1 single hour with paper and pen? Here, just an example. You find a lot of examples when you go into the design world. So I must say, I don't know if it's I think it's a door or it's a joystick. I didn't find it, but it just to illustrate that many projects, and we will invite entrepreneurs in the next masterclass so that they can also tell you about how did they start. They start with an Excel sheet. They start by taking their car and going and meeting people. They start by delivering themselves whatever they wanted to deliver, to cook themselves, to help themselves. It's really about putting yourself within action and not thinking that any little thing is too little. Never. That's only how things are going forward. So that's also a big challenge, to be able to just start with the very little action you can. This is, the game where you have to find Charlie. It's just to illustrate this often question that entrepreneurs that we might have of, I need to find a co-founder, and where can I find my co-founder, and especially where can I find my CTO when it's come to tech projects where people are looking to this. this is kind again of the impossible question to answer, and it's almost the same than where can I find my lover for life. It's really by again doing and moving forward and trying and having a really concrete hands and feet on the ground that you will meet the right person at the right moment. Of course, you have to say that you are looking to work with someone. You need also to have a pretty clear idea, a bit at least, of what you need as competencies and how you would like to interact with the person. But it's just kind of listening to your intuition, not doing this, perfect list of what you need, and not waiting for anyone to start. And really, most of the stories of how people met their co-founders were really on the way, and it was most of the time surprise and other great hazard. So yeah, this question of I need to find someone to work with before I do anything, again, it's not a good excuse. And especially, again, so if we are speaking about tech today, we will also share with you some resources and organize a conference on this topic. But for those who don't know, you have a lot of tools today that we called no code in particular, but you have also low code that allow anyone that is not a developer to build a very nice and practical platform. It can be a website, but it also can be a mobile application. You can build an e-commerce platform, all this without being able to code. So of course there are different types of level, but that's also something very important to realize, that you don't need to find a technical co-founder when you want to do the first version of what you are building. And by the way, sometimes also by building this DIY platform, do-it-yourself platform, it's always sometimes also easier for you if you meet a technical co-founder to explain to him or her what you want to do. And by the way, so we have built a platform where we share some tools that we really recommend to you to use when you want to build something. We will share it a bit later with you. Maybe Chloe, are you with us to say a word about it, or we do it later as you want? I don't know if we have Chloe still with us now. Yeah, I think we will share it with you at the end. So within this website, you will be able to have some clue about what types of tools we know are good to be used for building your project.
Yes, I am.
Ah, parfait. I was losing you. Do you want to share the website to explain it a bit?
Can you share the website on your screen?
Of course I can. Let me just... Yes, I will do that. Hello. Do you see it or not?
Yes.
Yes, you can see it.
Okay. So
okay.
I will go wherever you want me to go.
Okay, thank you, Maeva. For the moment, I think you can just stay there. So basically, this is a website that I initiated because I realized that there was like so many available tools online that could be used either to build a pitch deck, to build a prototype, or to do like market research, but very few students knew about it. So I thought it would be nice to have like a kind of repository of these useful tools and try to segment them in a way which would be like intuitive for the user. I mean, obviously there are other existing repositories of tools such as the K-Animo repository, but they're like very complex, very exhaustive. This one is light, but it's made on purpose. We made it light to make it like easy to grasp. So Maeva, can you click on find your way in the bar? So this is like a kind of chart where you could actually start and locate yourself. It asks you like yes or no question and gives you some instructions regarding like the answer you give. So for example, do you already have potential customers? If you're saying yes, then we would just ask you like the next step. If you say no, then basically like you can click on the button and you will be redirected to the section where you would be able then to know your customer. Thank you, Maeva. And in this like in this section, don't go down, please. Go up. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you have there a section which is called Know Your Customers Better. And if you look on that section, there's like a selection of tools that you can use that should be like free of charge or at least like freemium, where you can, I think it's mostly about like surveying tools. Can you go with the mouse over this section? Yeah, exactly. So you have like a surveying, like Simple Mind, which isn't useful if you want to like draw a user journey, and then Trint, which is rather like tools that we use for research, but can also like be used for customers interview if you want to just do the transcription of the interview and have it like in a written way without just spending hours typing them yourselves. Yeah, and then each time you would click on one of the tools in the website, you would get like a kind of pop-up, which would give you like a random, like not a random, but like a description, like very light description, then also like some information about the pricing, and then you can click in, dive in, and you would directly be redirected to the website concerned. Obviously, if you have questions, I'm here to help. But yeah, I think it's like quite intuitive, especially now that we added like the infographic. So feel free to just use it. And also to give feedback if you also have like, I don't know, some ideas of tools we could add to this toolbox, let us know.
Super nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we will share all the links with you at the end of the masterclass. And yeah, this is a brand new website. We had another version before, but Chloe has been working a lot also with our team in Berlin on this. So should be helpful, and let's have feedback so that it's being perfected along the way. Again, some elements about money. So I was telling you cannot eat money, but of course there is always this big question about how can I have a sustainable business model. First of all, you will realize that for those who never raise any investment, so there is a first big trend today in entrepreneurship that is, I hope, very positive, which is thinking that you don't need to raise funds to build anything. And so you have more and more clubs of entrepreneurs that are pursuing the idea of building a company without external investment, at least for the first 4 years, for instance, and just getting investment in order to accelerate, but not to create. Of course, it depends on your business, but most of the time, the idea of getting investment to start a company has been too much addressed, and the reality is that you can start selling much earlier, and especially you can first of all create value in order to offer it to your customers and users, and usually the investors, they come when you have been able to prove that you are able to do a first solution by yourself. So really inviting you to get rid of this idea of I need investment to start anything, but more thinking about how can I create value from day one, And we may also share with you some previous masterclass of the START program, where you have entrepreneurs explaining how they were able to sell their product or service, even when they didn't had build anything before, but of course, because they knew they were able to do it. So really trying to understand, first of all, how can I create value without thinking about getting any resource before for that? Because as we were just saying at the beginning, you already have much more potential and capacity than you think you have. The business model canvas, most of you, again, I think have heard about it or even used it. It's exactly the same than what I was saying about the design thinking Canva. It is a Canva. It's just, it's not again, an equation to solve. It's not a magical tool. It's not because you are feeling it perfectly that anything will work. It's more a tool for you to think. And it also has been created by simply interviewing people who were creating projects naturally. So keep this ability to just look at it as a tool as it is, but still it's very helpful and a simple way to move your thoughts, and it's always changing. By the way, it's really not a tool that you have to fix everything in the different boxes and then it's done. Absolutely not. Normally you move around. It's more for you.
Oh, bien. Bon, bah, je te laisse.
Yeah, a word about this. That's perfect. We are on time. Often there is this idea of I need to drop everything. There is some mics that are open. If you can mute it, it would be super nice. Thank you. Always this idea of, okay, shall I quit my job and put all my energy right now in this project? You know, it's a bit like a blank or white or all in. Again, the reality is that things are going slowly and organically and very naturally. So it's not everything at the same time. We have a lot of entrepreneurs who have been building projects along the way next to their job. I have in mind an entrepreneur from the Blue Factory in Paris. She stayed for 3 years as a consultant, and slowly she, you know, went from 5 days a week to 3 days a week, and it was very good because her company was very innovative. So the market was not ready to get the solution. So if she had dropped everything, it was just not the right time to build what she was building, because she was ahead of what people were needing. So keep it cool. It doesn't mean that still you will need to move forward and to be in this situation where you are uncomfortable because you cannot have everything at the same time. But don't rush and think it's a black or white, dropping everything or working on your project. About the investors, I was mentioning it before again, along with the tool that I'm sorry, I'm hearing some noise. It's a bit okay. If anyone sees the mic, it would be nice to cut. Okay, yeah. Along with the tool that Chloe showed to you, we are also preparing another platform that is called Notion that we will share with you in the coming weeks, where we are gathering other relevant resources, especially, for instance, some solutions in order for you to identify if there are any public or private investors that can be relevant to your project. And just this idea of if you are able to build something that is needed and relevant, and that you are able to show that you are able to do it, you will find investors. So it's really today, there are a lot of investors that are looking for relevant projects. So it's much more complicated to have a relevant project than to have investors. So I'm really still inviting you to work, deepen the problem, and test the solution slowly. That then things will go naturally. A small word about communication and marketing. The reality at the stage, especially where you are, is that word of mouth is everything. So you only need to be careful that every single person that you are going to help from today are super satisfied. And maybe that in 2022, you are going to help, let's say, 10 people. But if those 10 people, you are really able to help them, then it's exponential. So don't worry too much about building, a huge community, having so many followers on the social networks, doing so many scrapping emails where you massively send emails to people saying you want to buy my solution and etc. That's really not what is at stake today. Also because it's trash in the emails of people, but because you will lose your energy, disperse yourself, rather than really thinking, okay, I want to do it in a very qualitative way, in order also to learn and to be sure that what I'm doing is perfectly made and really helps deeply people. And then year after year, it will grow big, and you will have created a very solid base. Too many entrepreneurs are losing themselves at the beginning, trying to be there and everywhere, and not taking into account this very qualitative relationship to their users and beneficiaries and customers. By doing it, it will be important to, first of all, of course, understand what others are doing, but also be clear about what is your taste. I'm showing this because, in the bakery, spontaneously, when you arrive in the bakery, you will ask the baker, okay, what is the difference between those breads? And they will have to try to tell you about the different tastes. So that's exactly what you will need to do. Not at the beginning, it's super hard for you to naturally build something and then be able to comment about the taste, but that's what is at stake in the differentiating yourself and speaking about who you are. That's the only thing about communication. So taking care of helping really people and being able to speak about the taste so that people can the flavor of what you're doing. Small word about, that's just what I was saying before. You have a lot of tools for digital marketing, for growth hacking, for trying to reach the maximum and optimize at the maximum the way you can connect with potential clients and users. That's a loss of money and time, especially at the very beginning, because you may automate everything but learn nothing and know nothing from the real roots of what you're doing. So it is interesting, but from where you are now, I'm afraid you may lose a lot of time optimizing all these tools at that moment. It's for growth hacking, so it's for growth stage. And yeah, this image just to remind you that from the seeds at the very beginning of the conference to this size, it really takes time and unexpected situations. A last image for you to keep in mind is really this jungle. If you are building something, you don't know, you have no clue of what is next. And us being with you, we have no clue of what is next. We can share with you many testimonies from people who have been going through jungles. But what is key for you is to take care of what is happening right here, right now, every day. For instance, when you look for your lover, you don't prepare the wedding contract before finding your partner in life. that's exactly the same. Like if you worry today about how would be the legal status of my company, while you still don't have deepened the topics and on which you want to find a solution and met potential users and interviewed them, you are bringing a problem that is that will happen later and that you will be able to solve at that moment. But don't take the it's again with this jungle idea, like don't worry today with problems that will happen in 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 1 year, and etc. That's not necessary. Because in reality, you don't know what you will have to face in 5 minutes, in 1 day, in 1 week. So just be ready for whatever happens. And keep in mind that what is key for you is to be into the reality and the present. Whenever you do a pitch deck or you speak about what you would like to do, whenever you are in this theoretical situation, it's all fake. It's a bit like the difference between drinking real water and imagining that you are drinking water. It's just not real. So all this message is really to help you to be back on a very simple, easy, and concrete place, which is now.